My aim is to show the geometry mathematics on the net of time as the solar-lunar spiral calendar may be seen, example an agon of Athena and Arachne. Moreover, to show how that complicated interconnections of time, geometry and mathematics were taught in ancient Athens in theatre. And more than that, to show that it was turned into a law in Athens, into many laws that created the civilization of Athens and of Rome for that matter, and are the laws today that we obey, justly so, as they connect the order among humans and the order of cosmos around Earth. Through the door of the Theban palace, Antigone, one of the two daughters of Oedipus, is sleeping, and motions Ismene, her sister. Ismene follows cautiously Antigone towards an altar at the center of the stage. Prologos, as it used to introduce the idea of a poet for his play, tells us that the two sisters are identical as a breed, flesh and blood. Such are Menades, described in myths as crazy women who in drunken frenzy could tear their own son to pieces. The Menades used to be the female companions of Dionysos, god of wine, joy in life, son of Zeus and Semele, daughter of Cadmus. The story described in a myth, Cadmus and Europa, of building Thebes, says that Agenor made Cadmus look for Europa, his sister, kidnapped by Zeus. Cadmus took water into a helmet to sacrifice the cow in the place of building the city. Athena advised him to sow snakes' fangs at night. Immediately they popped out as people and started fighting together. Athena advised to throw a stone among them, and while arguing who threw the stone first, they all had killed each other. Only 5 remained alive, and those were the Spartans who pledged to help Cadmus build Thebes. Notice, Spartans who we know from history were the warriors who pledged to Sparta never to step back. Another place like that on the geometric drawing of a spiral calendar is point square root number 12, except that the drawing of days one by one on a spiral makes it come together visually always while drawing the spiral calendar, and the one mirror like on the opposite side of point 0, one shall find the shape which visually is an apple. The 5 Spartans who helped him build Thebes had names Echion, meaning vapor, Udaios, meaning coming from earth, Chtonios, meaning from soil, Hyperenor, meaning man who climbs up, Peloros, meaning a snake. Echion and Peloros meant a snake, considering the love for polysomnia and riddles. One may decipher those names as sinusoid and cosinusoid. And the point of mathematical value 3.14, which by definition is the value of a ratio of circle's circumference to its diameter on the drawing of spiral calendar, has got the value of 3.14 for both spirals, and additionally for geometrical vertical line between the two spirals. That's 5 Spartans who helped Cadmus. Moreover, the myth of Cadmus as a builder of Thebes has got another dimension. Cadmus did not know that the spring from which the water was taken into a helmet belonged to Ares. Gods decided that Cadmus has to serve as a slave to Ares for 1 great year, which is 8 years of 365 days, nearly equal to 100 lunar pi. In geometric terms, Oedipus was born second time in the bushes in Corinth by Merope. Merope is the name of one of 7 stars in a constellation of Pleiades. The myth says the queen of Corinth was Periboia. Peri means circle. Merope is in mythology the name of one of Artemida's priestesses who got pregnant and was changed into Ursa Minor, called the bear. Some bright stars are known to all people, are recognizable. Therefore, by changing the name of Periboia to Merope, Sophocles has made the scale of the play cosmic, as pi equals 1 year. The law of nature, time makes a year, pi of time, pass as a circle of time, like fortune, Roman vortumna, and the new year begin. If that is in square root of 198, as it was counted in ancient times, which is 17th of July, then it was to Oedipus as king of Thebes misleading. The law of geometric inversion gave a difference of 3 days. In fact, Oedipus was in day 195 as a man, human. A new year, when one starts counting anew, ab ovo, meaning from eggs. The text describes Antigona giving a birth-like squeak when she sees the corpse of Polynices, a squeak that the birds give when see nest emptied from eggs. Such narratives, like Oedipus the king, describe the end of year in a transition. When looking at the geometry of the first square rhombus, sinus and cosinus as diagrams of function make function tangent and cotangent cross or meet at point 4. It is a geometric law. Mathematically, number 4 is the power of number 2, which makes 2, 4, and 8 as second and third power of number 2. This is how the same law of geometry and time, conquered intellectually by man, like the answer to the riddle asked by Sphinx, makes daughters of Oedipus inherit the private shame and public disgrace and pain. Meaning, this is a geometric law or formula that concerns the people. For gods, the beings like Earth or astronomic times of year that joins the solar year in intervals made by the Luna. And the cosmic constellations, as Dionysos, do not feel pain. Those equations of time are miracles, are eternal. Astronomers and kings, philosophers in ancient times, based the creation of city-state on the law of nature, the time, geometry that allowed them to predict, travel, trade, develop, have power, teach laws that concern humans, nature, cities in dignified order, respecting gods and man. It is no surprise once you have the drawings, the knowledge of time, and the alphabet that allows to communicate the laws among the ones who know and the ones that want to learn in order to vote. Demos in democracy. As mythological Aeneas went from Troy to Italy, we have in Greece and ancient Rome the very ancient code of laws. Delicta parentium liberis non nocent. The forbidden doings of parents do not concern children. Geometrically, Oedipus' deeds do concern Antigone and Ismene. Dura lex sed lex. Tough law, but a law. Geometrical patterns and mathematical powers, second and third, are there, and citizens need laws to protect them. There is minus square root of 3.14 as a place on geometry. Quod omnes similiter tangit, ab omnibus comprobetur. What concerns all should be by all accepted. Vim vi repellere licet. Attack by force can be repelled by force. Libertas in aesteti mobilis res est. Freedom is priceless. To ancient Greeks, some of their heroes were like holy people to the Christians. For example, Heracles and Thessis. The law of Athens stated no man could be executed in Athens until the ship with Thessis returned. That has extended the life of Socrates for 30 days, as the ship was delayed because of bad weather. Many years have passed since Oedipus has blinded himself. That act, so well described in Oedipus the King, on geometry meant the rule of geometry that makes semicircle divided into 3 equal parts by its diameter show 2 lines of length equal to square root of number 2 each that join that diameter and the semicircle by a right angle. That rule of geometry is presented in the theatre as Iocasta's dress held on her shoulders by 2 fibulas. Geometrically, Oedipus pulls the fibulas out and strikes the pupils of his eyes with them, which takes away the sinus of the right angle that he acquired as Prince of Corinth, son of Merope, and Oedipus becomes a beggar. A law has to be made with the man as the subject, because the laws of geometry and time are so powerful, and the more disastrous may be to every human, the laws have to protect the humans. And so do our monotheistic religions protect humans from geometry of minus square root 3.14. The law that changes a word into an action that the word carries is not known to us, but on geometry exists and is there in our minds. There are words like apple and ship that sound the same in Greek, but on geometry can imply the golden apple or apple of knowledge. Interestingly, to prove the point that the law was based on geometry of time, concept of pi applied to spiral calendar and extended to cosmos. Motif of Merope and Orion, sometimes called Urion or Kondoan in Boeotia. In the day of his death, Oedipus says, quote, "I did not commit a crime when killing Laius. I was attacked and therefore I repelled by force." In a heated argument with Creon, Oedipus says, "When I was devastated and I overreacted," the law says, in quotes, "one cannot be the judge in his own case." In Oedipus the King, Creon asks, "Should we go in or should we talk here in front of citizens?" That text puts the essence of a difference between democracy and theocracy under the microscope. Oedipus chooses listening to the message of Apollo in an open way, as what concerns all the people should be known to all. In Antigone, the same rule of geometry that was used in the description of Laius's death by his son Oedipus, in Oedipus the King, was described by words of Tiresias as the trespassing of his privileges of a ruler, meaning, "Creon, you have given to the gods of the world below the living soul, the child that was meant to stay in the world above," meaning Antigone. "And you have kept in the world above the body of a dead human, which belongs to the gods of the world below. You have violated the rights of heavens." On the drawing of geometry, numbers 6, 7, and 8 are above and on the line, and just below the axis. Mathematically, number 2 becomes 8 in third power. If turned, in quotes, upside down, like words describe, that becomes the transgression of the king's power over others. By showing the drawings and matching with words of place that describe them, and on that base teach the laws of the people, the laws of gods, meaning the universal powers of nature, I believe to have shown a new dimension to knowing what words of Pythagoras say. Time is the soul of this world, the whole world, always. From Arcturus till Arcturus, for 3 years, were the shepherds grazing their flocks, from square root of 80 till square root of 266. and 3 days old baby Oedipus in square root of 266 means that he was born in square root of 263. Could have been born in square root of 356 in the beginning of astronomical winter. Thus was shifted by 90 days, which is the ratio of 3 days to square root of 266, and 90 days to 266 to astronomical autumn from astronomical winter. This is the ratio.